Great Scott.
What's up, people?
Checking in from Pensacola, Florida. Tim Moss.
Yeah.
Scuba Man Steve.
What's up? How's it going, everybody? We got another Saturday live stream. Brian Smith is here. Hey, Brian.
Hello.
Anyway, thanks for hanging out. I the last 2 Saturdays did not do a live stream. So 2 weeks ago, I was in France for my brother's wedding, and then for the last 9 days, so I was in France for like 8 days, and that was awesome. Congrats to my brother for his awesome new wife and wedding. It was super fun, and it was really like a nice vacation. But then I was only back for 3 days, and then left for Nashville for the last 9 days. And there was the Summer NAMM show, so I was there for that. But then also I was filming or shooting tons of content that hasn't been released yet that I'm really excited about. So, there's just been a lot going on. I wasn't able to do the live streams, but I'm back, and I always want to do, a live stream every Saturday at 1 o'clock. And I want to do more topics, like each live stream has like a little angle to it. And so this Saturday, I've got this Reddit open, a subreddit of guitar questions. So I want to be able to answer some of those. And then also feel free to let me know what you guys are thinking. Got Brian here helping moderate the comments and doing some tech stuff. Now, another thing I did was I decided not to use my Mevo camera my live stream camera that I've been using, because whenever something has gone wrong in my live streams, technically, it's always been because of the Mevo camera. So just the reliability of it has been a little stressful. So I'm just using my mobile devices to do it. Now, I don't know if you guys saw, I did a live stream with a gear guy, Philip McKnight. I did a live stream on his channel when we were in Nashville, and he just put his phone up for it, and it seemed to work well. And I do that for the non-YouTube stuff, so I just thought it's time to kind of do it without, just so I'm not worried about it. How are we doing, Brian?
Doing good.
What are you checking on right now?
I've got both Facebook and YouTube.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna do a little open up with a little jam just for fun, and then I'm gonna get to the subreddit questions, and then also I'd like to know your questions, anything that you guys would like to see me answer, or just any questions at all. Please let me, throw the questions out there while I'm playing this opening jam. Brian will be going over them, and I've got the Reddit stuff. So let's see here. Here comes the looper. What's the concern over there, Brian?
There's no sound on Instagram.
Oh, just turn the volume up on the iPad all the way. Try that. Be careful with my fancy setup there. I don't know why that would be, unless just the iPad's broken. Because I don't know if I've used that iPad for Instagram. So, all right. So I've got some questions here. I'm not going to worry about Instagram. It's probably the iPad. Is it still, no one's hearing anything? Mm-hmm. Just hit end on it. If it's not working, you guys can go to the other one. I don't want you focused on it anyway. All right. The first question is from Reddit. It's best software to aid in learning solos by ear. Now, Brian, you know I have an answer for that. This person says, question pretty much as stated in the title. Right now I'm using YouTube's playback speed feature, which blows in several respects. Things I'd like to be able to do. Slow down music to any arbitrary tempo, not only 75% or 50% speed. Slow down music without distorting the pitch. Slow down the music without making it choppy. Sustain any moment in a piece of music, etc. So this person's trying to learn solos by ear with music. And I actually just released my own app called Marty Slow Rider. Right now it's only available for Apple, Apple devices. But my dev team is working on making it available for Android as well. So it's called the Marty Slow Rider. And the thing for me is, it was important. How you doing there? Working it out over there? You know it. Tony Baker, shout out on Instagram. All right, so Marty Slow Rider, you can take any song from your Apple Music account or your Spotify, and you can import the song into it. You can slow it down and loop sections. So Marty Slow Rider for Apple devices. I use it every day, and that's how I learn solos note by note. So that is what I recommend. There's other apps as well, and if you get that one, then no problem. Okay. Next. Here's a good question, and this is kind of more of a newbie question, but the question is, what is the difference between G7 and G major 7? I like that question because it's not always clear, especially if you're just kind of like learning guitar on your own. So G7 or G major 7. The difference is going to be the same with all the other notes, like what's the difference between a C7 and a C major 7. And I'll explain it, but I'll do it by talking about the G chord. So first, you have a 3-note chord, which is major or minor. So the G7 chord and the G major 7 chord are both a G major triad with another note called the 7th added to the chord. So if I just play a basic G chord like this, there's only 3 notes there. It's G, B, and D. G, B, D, G, B, D. I'm sorry, G again. So it's only 3 notes going on there. When you make it a 7, you're adding the 7th tone. Now when it's called G7, you're adding the dominant 7, also you could say the minor 7th interval, to the G major chord. Now that 7, the note itself is a whole step down from the root. So whatever letter is a whole step down from G, it's an F. So basically what a G7 would be is a G major triad with an F note added to those already existing 3 notes. So the easiest way to do that with the open G is you add this F note right here on the 1st fret of the high E. You can also do it from a bar chord, and the F note would be on the 6th fret of the B string. A lot of other places to do it, but if I took a G major bar chord right here, the F note I have is the 13th fret of the high E. And there's a lot of other chords or voicings of that. Another one that's good is the C shape, C, D, E, F, G, and add the F note right here on the 10th fret of the G string. Okay, so those are all G7, not G major 7, but G7, a dominant 7 chord. Now, 7 chords, not major 7, but just when you just say the letter and 7, it's really a blues chord. That's what it is. We love it. A lot of times we call it dominant 7. And that's more of a theory related thing. But basically, a 7 chord is a major chord with the minor 7th interval, which is the letter that's a whole step down from the root. So if I just took a B major chord right here, a B major bar chord, and I wanted to make it B7, I have to add the minor 7 interval to it. And I would figure out that it's a whole step down from B, so it's an A note. So anywhere where I can add an A note to this chord, it'll become B7. And I can tell you right now, it's the 10th fret of the B string. And also the scale that that chord is derived from, or the chord that the scale is derived from, back and forth, the yin and yang, it's the Mixolydian. Like, oh, that sounds like the Grateful Dead. Well, they use that scale a lot. But Jerry didn't use one straight scale. But Mixolydian would probably be like the closest that you would get to trying to start to do the Jerry thing. So now let me talk about the major 7 chord. Completely different chord than the regular 7 or the, so let's go back to G. G7, G major 7. They cannot be substituted for each other. They're very different chords. G major 7 is a G major triad, but with the major 7th interval added to it. The major 7th interval is a half step down from the root, whereas the minor 7 is a whole step down from the root. So to play a G major 7 instead of a G major with an F note added to it, it's actually a G major with an F sharp added to it. And what you get is that, I think of the song Under the Bridge is a classic spot where you would hear that major 7 chord. When I taught, I don't know if everyone knows this, but when I taught elementary school music, I would do little ear training exercises with the kids, and I had names for chords. And the major 7, I called it the Fairy Princess chord, because it sounds very majestic and pretty. Again. So, how are we doing, Brian?
Doing good.
What are you looking at? Are you checking your fantasy sports over there?
No, YouTube comments.
Any questions or anything?
Yeah, lots of questions.
Okay, so keep note, and I'll finish this topic here. So, if I said a B7 chord, it sounds like this. But if I said B major 7 chord, it sounds like this. So they're so distinct, you should really be able to identify them. But just think when you hear that really pretty sounding chord, that's a major 7 chord. And when you hear a bluesy chord, that's a 7 chord. So we'll leave it at that. Blues, a 12-bar blues is 3 dominant 7 chords, the 1, 4, 5, but all turned into dominant 7. that with major 7 chords, it would sound like this. And you would agree it's not bluesy at all. Not even close, right? Totally different. Now, the scale that makes the major 7 chord and the major 7 chords scale back and forth. So if I play this G major 7 chord, it's the major scale, 7 major scale. So the do re mi scale. And you can even see that half step down from the root right there is the major 7. F sharp to G. Definitely in more jazz, the major 7 chord, as well as orchestrated music, scores, stuff like that. But even the Dead would use the major scale. They wouldn't use, Grateful Dead. Eyes of the World. I know not everyone's a Deadhead here, but one of their most famous songs called Eyes of the World, and it's literally a major 7 chord. So whenever Brian Smith is here, the Dead's always popping up in and out. Okay, so that's a couple Reddit questions. I want to hear from Brian, any questions that he's got that you guys are asking. And while he's talking, I'm going to open up the YouTube and Facebook myself. So what are we doing, Brian?
Well, Chris Crawford wants to hear the Fairy Princess Jam.
Yeah! There is one, actually. So what's funny about that, in some ways, not always, but when I taught elementary school music, and I worked really hard at it. I mean, it was rewarding, but very draining as well. And with let's say, I would joke that being able to keep a kindergarten class entertained for a half hour and educated was very good training for YouTube lessons. It's about kindergarten level of attention span. But the funny thing, you talk about the major or the Fairy Princess Jam. That's what you're saying. So I would actually, this is a true story, but only when I heard that question did it remind me of it, because it's been a while. It's been about 11, almost 12 years since I did that job. But at the end, if the kids were good and I knew the kids' names, I would actually tell a story with the different chords that I had, and I would say, I would play the Fairy Princess chord. Oh, children, long ago, in a magic kingdom, fairyland, there was a fairy named Delilah. And that'd be the name of one of the kids in the class. And I'd say, Delilah was enjoying her day in fairyland, picking the flowers and looking at rainbows. And I had different chords, so basically based on intervals. So this the most darkest interval is called the tritone. You hear it in Purple Haze. But I would say then the dragon would come and take over the village. And I'd use one of the kids' names as the dragon coming and taking over the village. And then I had a little rhythm that was then, and I'd pick another kid, came riding in on his horse, and I'd do this little horse rhythm I had. And he came in and he said, "I'll vanquish the dragon." And then the princess said, "Oh, Brian, you're my hero." And I would just do that, and I know it's silent in here right now, but the kids would just be dying. I mean, they would beg for me to do that. And especially when I would name the students' names, like as I told the musical story. But it was all like, that was all ear training. So it was actually really fun to do that. Yeah, I'm glad. Who asked that question again?
Chris Crawford.
Chris Crawford. Thanks for reminding me of that, because that was a fun time. That was a fun time. Okay, Brian, we got another one.
Yeah, Andrew wants to know what was the coolest thing and or guitar you saw at NAMM.
That's easy. So the coolest stuff about Nam was actually Gibson guitars, because they got a new CEO maybe like a year ago. They restructured. I know they filed for bankruptcy, but they're basically like got this new CEO, totally trying to make a rebrand themselves, or make a big push that they're back. So they really had the biggest presence there. And I don't even know if they were at the NAMM show last year. I can't remember if they had it, but this year they took up about 10% of the entire space. They the newest line of guitars are super nice. I got to see like all the new custom shops that they're making. Killer. They're like basically back to classic basics. No robot tuners, nothing like that. Just the Les Pauls, 335s, SGs. I mean, everything was super high quality. I was very impressed. And then they also had this just like raging giant party that all these great players were at. Jason Isbell played, and I'd done a guitar tours with their guitarist Sadler Vaden, so I got to say hi to him and see an awesome show. Chris Isaac, Leroy Parnell, who another person that I did a guitar tours with, he was performing. And one of the coolest things that Gibson did there, they have I don't know if it's brand new, but like a charity foundation. They're giving 1,000 guitars away over 1,000 days. And at the NAMM show, they had 5 kids that are extremely talented up there, jamming and getting interviewed. And I was excited to see young kids jamming guitar. That means the future of guitar is in good hands. And so the 5 kids up there were jamming and getting interviewed. And the interviewer was saying, "Oh, like, what's the first riff you learned? What's, what do you like to play? Who's your favorite guitar player? And all this." And they got to one of the kids, and they're like, "Oh, what was the first riff you learned?" And the kid, his name was Reese. I don't know if Reese is watching, because I met him. Hope you're doing well. All those kids were awesome. But so this kid Reese said he saw me there because I was watching, and he was like, "Oh, actually, I learned from Marty Schwartz right there." So that just that made me feel really good to see young kids ripping on guitar and playing rock and blues, and then knowing that I actually helped them too. The other kids didn't shout me out. They looked pretty nervous, but they came up afterwards and they all wanted to say that I helped them. So that made me feel really good. There's an English kid that I met at Gibson as well named Toby. I first saw him on Norm's Rare Guitars Instagram, but he was just ripping. He played in the School of Rock musical in London, and he's just shredding. He sat in with Joe Bonamassa. But it was good to hear that he learned a lot from watching me as well. So overall, Gibson made their presence known, high quality, giving back, giving guitars away. So I was just impressed. In all honesty, they haven't given me a guitar or anything. I was just really impressed. So they're definitely doing some cool stuff. Anything else at the NAMM show? I was so busy meeting people. So I'd say that was the coolest thing, was just people coming up and saying they learned a song from me or learned how to play, especially like the youth. One thing that happens every NAMM show more and more, which it's funny but also is making me feel older, is when people say, "Oh, Marty, I've been watching you since I was little. Marty, I used to watch you when I was little. Marty, I watched you since I was a little kid." So I'm hearing that more and more as time goes on, which is kind of funny, but also like, oh crap, I'm getting old. So yeah, so those were those questions. Brian, any other questions?
No, maybe jam time.
Jam time. That's everyone saying play, play, play. That's cool. I can dig it. There we go. All right. Oh, also let you guys know I'm using my Marty Music looper. Loopers are going to be for sale again. They're in stock. If you can't see, but behind the camera here is a giant stack of loopers and boxes. So those are going to be available again at Marty Music. And yeah, look for next week. So here's another jam with it. Let's see what I got. Yeah. Yes, sir. All right. A couple shout outs on Facebook. Thanks for watching, everybody. Suzanne Williner, hey. Todd Huff, Christopher Shook, Danny Doyle, Joshua Norco, thank you again. Clap, clap, clap. Thank you. Hume Hawkins, thanks. That's like a little jam I was playing in Nashville that I just kind of came up with because I did some guitar tour shooting there, and I had to think of things that were like not copywritten for guitar tours for jamming. So I was just coming up with like little jams that feel good to play over. So that was one I was kind of developing over the. It's I guess my own original jam track. You know what I mean, Brian? And I saw Sadler Vaden. Ooh, and I said, "What are you doing here, Sadler?" Okay. Eric De La Garza, Simon Zanders, German Hernandez, Chris L. Babcock. Thank you. Nikki Morgan, what year is my SG? I'm actually not sure, but I think probably early 2000s. Ever try double looping? Two loopers? Well, no, you can stack loops unlimited on the looper. Uh, Joshua Norco likes the Marty voices. Sandy Miller says, "You are an original." Why, thank you, Sandy Miller. I know you're not biased. You guys can pick up on what I was saying there. That was insider knowledge there. Bill Williams II. Thank you. Marco Berkovic. Lisa McNeil. For anyone getting on, if you can learn anyone, I'm 60 and have been watching Marty for a few months and I'm doing well for that short time. Thank you. James Crystal Banks. What's up? Nikki Morgan. Dave Ballman. Campfire Jams. Scott Dietz. Hello. Alex Meza. Thank you. Kenneth Reno. How was Paris? Paris was awesome. Thank you. If you're just tuning in, I went to Paris. My wife and I went to Paris because my brother got married. Ferris Bueller himself got married. Kenneth Reno. Yeah, my wife loved it. We're calling it the Great Rosé Shortage of 2019. Did you hear that, Brian? Almost taco time. Yeah, except Brian says he has to leave. So no tacos with Brian. Such a bummer. Such a bummer, you guys. All right, I'm going over to YouTube for a couple shout outs, and then we're going to wrap it up. I'm using a lot of bandwidth here, it looks like. No French accent. No, I didn't get my French accent too good. All right. Here we are. I'm scared, much more scared to go over to YouTube for comments. But David Koch, Just Boy Game MV, RSMS, Corky USH, Clay Cheathen, Bruce Springsteen. Thanks. Garrick Pridemore. Oh, nice. He's going to be in my area. Anthony Bott, Rick in Seattle, John Webster, Artbox Fashion, Rocket. I am not going to Woodstock, no. Justin Taylor, Life Sucks. I'm sorry. Mallory Pyror. Thank you. Chris Crawford, Boyson999, David Punet, Nadia Breedenhan. Hello in South Africa. Anthony Bott, Mix Gervin, Purple Penguin, Anonymous C, GNR Forever, David Raposo, Captain Rick in Cape Cod. What's up, Captain? David Braley from Wiley. Georgios Mapartas. It's going by fast. Mario Alberto Cantarell Valdez. Garrison Thielen. Berserker Joe. Wes H. Dirk van Uffelen from the Netherlands. Hello. Wes H. Andy W. Bruno T. Corky in Manchester. Marcel Farkas, Ben Rodriguez, Heim Benson, Square XX, Avi Halima, Sam Rafferty in the UK. Love all you guys in the UK and in other parts of the world from where I am. I'm in San Diego. So nice. GNR Forever's in South Africa too. Carl O'Byrne is in Dublin. And then Mabitso Sepetane is in Ohio. School of Science 1878 is in Liverpool. Rec Banyels is in Belgium. Gisette Bielat in Warsaw. MICU, Romania. That is amazing. Isn't that cool, Brian?
Definitely cool.
That's awesome. Portugal. David Raposo in Portugal. Jay Robinson in Barnsley, UK. Dovidas! All right, I'll end it there because Dovidas, what's up, my friend? I don't know if you guys have seen Dovidas on YouTube yet, but go check him out. I think he's really entertaining. And I got to meet him at the NAMM show. And we did a little collaboration. It's not out yet. But anyway, check out Dovidas if you haven't. He's cool. Cool dude. And hi to your sister and Jill, your fiance. I enjoyed getting to know you and hanging out with you. That was really fun. So anyway, free shout out. Dovidas! We did some funny stuff. Some of you may find it a little weird, but it's going to be good. I'll leave it at that. Anyway, thanks again, you guys. I'll see you next Saturday. Do another live stream. Just quick shout outs. Get ready. Marty Music Looper is going to be available in about a week. Running a sale right now on my Essential Blues and Rock at Marty Music. So, all that stuff helps support what I do, especially all the free stuff I do on YouTube. So thanks again. Thank you to Brian. We'll see you later. Signing out. Adios. Adios, adios, adios. Au revoir, as they say. Au revoir.